babe!
Hello YouTube, welcome to the channel. Now then, on today's video we're going to be looking at this. It's the Wltoys WL915-A. It's a brushless racing boat basically. Now this thing has been out for donkey's years, so why now have I decided to test one? Well, unfortunately it's a very dangerous place, YouTube, and I started watching a series of videos. I think there are some Malaysian guys and they have a racing series for these out there. And some of the speeds they get out of them are absolutely incredible. I mean, they have a racing series for stock and modified. And like I say, some of the speeds they get are absolutely ridiculous. And apparently these will run, although I'm not going to try it today, these will run 4S out the box. So they're quite quick. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to have to try this. So anyway, I've put my money in my pocket, which is very unusual. And I've gone out and bought one. Now you can pick these things up for about 70 quid here in the UK, which is about $80 US. But like I say, they're a brushless race boat. Apparently just 45 kilometers an hour. I've got no real way of testing that, unfortunately. Self-righting, and like I said, like a little bladder inside one of the floats, and when it fills up with water, if it goes upside down, it flips itself back over. So that's mint. Anyway, enough waffle. Let's crack the box open. It's also got, it says here, anti-tilt warehouse, which I'm dying to see what that is. Anyway, enough waffle. Let's crack the box open and see what we get. Right then, in the box we get our instructions. We get a 3S battery charger, because the battery that comes with this is 3S. We've got some spares. I think there's a spare prop in there, several little Allen keys and a spare nut. Now, unfortunately, I get a Continental plug with it. But I think I have got an adapter somewhere, but I've got a battery charger that will do 3S anyway. We've got one 3S battery, which is 1200 milliamp hour capacity. We get the lovely Wltoys traditional controller, which I'm a big fan of these. They just fit nice in the hand. And last but not least, we've got the actual boat itself. Now, this thing is bigger than I thought it was going to be. It's styled to look like a sort of one of those Formula One powerboat races. It looks absolutely fantastic, this thing. I mean, it looks better in the flesh than it does in all the pictures. So I'm quite excited now to try this thing. It looks fast, just sat there. Now, just in the instructions, they have pictured, or they've got pictured a stand, but there's not one in the box, but never mind. Now, this portion at the back is the self-righting function on this. Basically, when it goes upside down, that bit filled with, or this channel filled with water, and it flips itself back over. That's the theory anyway. So you don't need it to any mess around with the control. You don't need to press any buttons. It's purely self-righting, the design of the boat. It does look absolutely fantastic, this does. And it looks as though it's going 400 miles an hour sat on the desk. I do especially like the fact that they've modelled the outboard on the back as well as the rudder. We'll lift the lid and we'll have a look inside. Okay, underneath there's not much to look at. Boats aren't particularly complicated. We've got a, what I believe is a 2000 kV outrunner brushless motor. Interestingly, it attaches to the prop via a flexible shaft that runs in this tube, which goes underneath the boat. We've got a tiny little mini micro steering servo, and we've got a combined ESC and receiver there, I think. And it's all water cooled. It picks up a water feed from that pipe there from behind the prop via this plastic tubing, cools the motor, cools the ESC, and is ejected, I believe, at the back of the boat there. We've also got a little removable bung, so if there's any water gets trapped in the boat, we can easily remove it without having to take the lid off. Like I say, there's not much to these boats. It's fairly simple and straightforward. The battery sits here. It does seem very tight though, getting this battery clip over. I'm not going to force it, but I'm going to have a look at that. And that's about it. Anyway, I'm going to charge this battery up, and I'm going to have to go and try this bad boy. 3S, baby. Right then, battery's charged. Check the thing over. Everything's working as it should. Now let's talk safety with this thing. There's no immersion sensor on this, so the prop will rotate in or out of the water. So you've got to be careful when you're handling the boat. You're not, you've got kids involved, because that prop will come keen. There is a low battery warning on this thing, but no range alert. So I think the manual says, I think you've got 100 meters, but I take that with a pinch of salt. But that's one thing you've got to bear in mind when using this boat, is not to go too far out with it, because your controller or the boat will not tell you that you're too far away. Anyway, enough waffle. Battery's charged. Let's go and try it. Right, we're outside. It is typical boating weather, so it means it's raining. We'll test the self-righting first. So it should automatically flip itself over. Check. So that works a treat. So go on then, darling, nail it. Yeah, I'll bring it back to the bank if it's It's got no range alert though. Oh.
Stuck! It's definitely stuck.
Hang on.
I stopped it.
20 seconds later.
Sorry.
Reverse.
Few moments later.
Not too far out, 'cause I can't see it on the camera. What? Babe!
I ran out of lake.
How can you run out of lake?
Honestly, it's so easy done. I couldn't stop it.
Supposed to
I
flip.
literally couldn't stop it. I stopped it like about there and it just carried on.
Yeah, I had some control issues with this, you know.
Yeah, I definitely had a control issue.
Oh, Gary. Yeah, I didn't do that at all. That's right. Oh, and that. Yeah, it's going on its own now. Oh, that's a bit of this. Yeah, it's like a weird delay.
I know. I told you, didn't I? It's going on its own.
Yeah. Now I've got no control at all. Oh, I can't stop though.
Ah, no, go duckies. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I think we call it a day before we lose this thing.
Or kill a duck.
Or kill a duck. Right then, back inside and I'm absolutely gutted. There's definitely a control issue with this. It's almost like the boat disconnects from the transmitter momentarily. So your last input, either with full throttle or you know, if you're turning in a circle, it continues to do so for a couple of seconds, and all of a sudden it's like it snaps back and you've got control of it again. I was ready to blame the wife, actually. I mean, on the plus side, I mean, hit the bank full speed a couple of times. I was ready to blame her, but I think it is actually the boat. On the plus side, this thing is tough as old boots. Like, it's a fair wallop into that bank a couple of times, and I have broke RC boats before that, going half the speed. So this thing is quite tough, but I'm absolutely gutted about this control issue. There's one thing I want to check first before I completely write this thing off. I'm going to try a brand new set of batteries in the transmitter, because that's the only thing, even though the low battery alarm wasn't on, didn't come on the transmitter, I'm wondering if the batteries just weren't up to the job, because they were a set I took out of a functioning transmitter. Right, I'm outside at my local pond with the boat. Now, before I write this thing off, I just wanted to try something. I wasn't 100% happy with the batteries that were in the transmitter. When I got it back home, I did check them all over, and one of them was Duff. It didn't cause the transmitter to give the low battery alarm though, I must admit. So what I was going to do is, like I say, before I write this thing off, I've charged all the batteries. I know that the batteries are good in this. I know the batteries are fully charged in the boat. I'm just going to try it, see what happens. Okay, I haven't even put it in the water. I've just tried the throttle, worked for a couple of seconds, and then it basically goes to full power, and it's almost like you've got the throttle pinned for a couple of seconds. So there's definitely an issue with this. Right then, back inside. Now, unfortunately, this thing is just unusable. There's this strange random delay that happens occasionally between the control inputs on the transmitter and what the boat actually does. So like I say, it's just pretty much made this thing unusable. I mean, you just can't trust it. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to send it back. Anyway, so we didn't really have a proper test of it, and I am genuinely gutted, because I was really looking forward to trying this thing, and Sod's law dictates that I get a bad one. Anyway, Would I recommend the Wltoys WL915-A speedboat to you guys? I'm going to say at the moment, no. I've got a feeling I've got a duffin in some way, shape or form. I don't think this is common to this boat. There's some weird control issue, like I said, but at this point in time, I just can't recommend this thing to you guys because it's just unusable. So all that's left for me to do now is package this thing up and return it to the seller. I think I will revisit this boat at some point because I still want to try one. I think I've just ended up with a duffin. Anyway, if you found this video of some use and interest, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you're feeling that way inclined, hit that subscribe button for more similar future content. Once again, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again very, very soon.